Okay, let's see if we are live. I don't know if there's a better way to like double check whenever I'm live. I guess I just have to wait and see that it's actually streaming. Let me see. Are we live on Twitch? Yes, we are. And YouTube as well. Cool. Hello. Welcome back into the stream or the video afterwards. Thanks a lot for joining. So there's been a lot of things going on this week. And I think, so am I sharing? Yeah, so on the stream, I updated the stream schedule. So I think going forward from now, the only way that I can do it is by streaming like Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think it would sort of be like the best days to stream. And I'll probably keep the stream a little bit shorter as well, like maybe just a couple of hours or maybe even less, depending on sort of like the flow of it, because I think the other streams has also kind of been maybe a little bit long and boring to watch. So I'll just keep it a little bit shorter as well. But yeah, I'm having a lot of stuff is going on in this week. Basically, there's another project coming in, and there's a lot of meetings like on the Mondays or throughout the week, basically. So I'm trying there's a lot of like just project management and stuff like that, sort of like behind the scenes, that is not sort of like super interesting, I guess, to stream or anything like that. I'm still thinking about like doing some interviews with the director at some point, specifically for this project, right? And then the other projects I'm not sort of really allowed to talk about, so I need to work on those as well, and I can't do that on the stream. So that's basically sort of like a little update on what's happening. So yeah. Yeah, I'm sort of curious to see, like, I don't know where to take these streams in the future, but because it really depends on the sort of like the projects that sort of come in, right, and stuff like that. So like, if I can't really show anything, it's kind of like sort of defeats the purpose a little bit. But yeah, I think that's kind of like what I want to say here to start with, and then let's jump into the shots I want to work on today. So basically, yeah, I want to work on this shot here. Back scratching. Right. And yeah, in case it's your first time sort of catching me scratch my back, sketching the video or the stream, I am working on this indie film called Basilio y el Mar. It's being made in Peru, and we actually doing a couple. We're doing a workshop. I couldn't find the word. Sorry. So we're doing a workshop that's actually also going to happen on Saturdays. It will be in Spanish, and it will be over 6 sessions, 6 weeks. And I just sort of finished the proposal, and then we'll see if there will be any changes. But I think it's going to happen on Saturdays, and that's also sort of the reason why I want to scale down a little bit on the streams, because I'll basically be working. I've been working a lot of nights this week, and I am gonna be working a little bit on the weekends, and And so basically, just to not, I need to reduce the size of the streams a tiny bit as well, just to give me a little bit of a break as well. But yeah, so with that said, we had a good review session. A lot of it, some of it was already sort of approved, so that was really great. That's usually not the case, right? Or sometimes working on big productions, you sort of like work on 50 versions, 100 versions, and stuff like that. So for this stuff, it's, but it's also that we're doing very few versions. But the great thing is that, a lot of these effects are not like super complicated. So that's kind of like the upside to this, right? But we also getting some new shots to work on, and we changed a lot of, there was like not a lot, but we changed like some details on some of the shots and descriptions. I'm just trying to find the notes here. So for this shot was shot 20. Let's take a look. Right. So I think originally, I don't think there was like a planned thunder for this shot. I think it was just like heavy rain, and I wanted to sort of adjust the rain a little bit. I knew that it was like not super perfect. I think one of the rain layers I was not super happy about on some frames. Like I liked that it came towards the camera, but sometimes the on some specific frames it feels like it's kind of like still a little bit, right? Like on this frame here, I don't know if you can see. So I was just trying to sort of like ease out these render or rain layers, and then adding up the a thunder for this shot as well. So I'll just start on that. I'll put in some music. So there's no one watching on the stream right now, but if you watch the video afterwards on YouTube, just feel free to ask away, like anything in the comments, or like if you catch the stream, feel free to like ask any questions about VFX or filmmaking in general. I think I sort of run a very buenos dias, Flow in Nature. Welcome in. Nice to see you. As I was saying, I don't know many visual effects artists that run their own company, and also, I think the whole reason that I got into visual effects in the first place was because I actually wanted to draw, right? And so the reason why I wanted to draw was to tell stories. And so I think it's sort of, as I grown up and develop as an artist and as a person, I think I sort of don't lean too much up on the drawing anymore, I guess, but way more on the storytelling sort of aspect of things. And so that's why I started my company, to make documentaries and just tell like stories that maybe would never really be told, or or very, like there's so many stories to tell, like from all over the place, and it's I think it's easier to do in a way than sometimes making an animation film is really difficult, right? Like I think that's also some of the lessons that I learned studying animation, was like animation, it's super hard because it requires a lot of people, a lot of time, and a lot of money, if you will, which is like three factors that is almost impossible to get as a single person, as a single artist. But like shooting film, you can do that with like a small tight group, like 1 or 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, like, and then you can yes, you get everything for free when with the camera, so you don't need to like create every emotion, character, scenes, all these type of things, right? And then another thing about film is that it's also quite fast compared to animation. Like animation needs to be planned ahead, and every frame needs to be pre-planned, like way before you do anything. Storytelling is great indeed. Yeah, exactly. I think I think most artists, I think like even when you paint a painting, I think at least it was like that for me. Like at the beginning I just wanted to draw, and then I wasn't thinking like actively on the story, right? Or like saying like, oh, I want this to happen in this picture or whatever, but I guess we do in some way, right? Or we're trying to sort of reflect emotion or a vision or something inspiring on a dream or something like that, right? So, and I think when you paint, you kind of like do it a little bit like very intuitive, I guess, right? Without necessarily like thinking about that you're actually telling a story or a feeling, right? So I think that's kind of like what I learned growing up more, or in film, is that everything that we do, even like simple effects, can tell a story, right? So yeah, so that's kind of like where I'm at with that stuff. And yeah, the whole reason I started this conversation was because I was just saying that I don't know many VFX artists that actually run their own company or try to. I mean, there's I met a few VFX artists that try to make their own short film or their own pilot or stuff like that. But it's been very few people, I guess, who sort of dare to take the chance. And I think we artists usually are bad business people. So it's definitely been a challenge for me to learn how to even run a company and negotiate with companies and all these type of things. So like that's super challenging stuff for me to learn. And in a way, I find I feel like the art comes very easy to me, right? So I don't need to like obsess too much about it, right? But sometimes with the company stuff, I'm like, oh my god, how do I do this, right? And then I start like obsessing about how to do a company because I'm trying to sort of learn, right? Like trying to see like, oh, I need to write up this document, I need to make sure this is good and this is that, and then it ends up taking way more headspace because it's not something that I'm good at, right? Or know how to do. So and I think once you feel comfortable with a tool or your art, I think it comes faster, especially when you're used to deliver at a fast-paced production schedule in film, right? So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's it is interesting. I mean, that's why I think like it's I'm also like, the way that I run the company is I actually had like I started the company like a year before COVID, and I was very fortunate with COVID in a way. Like I was very unfortunate and fortunate, right? Like I think um, it was sort of like a curse and a blessing at the same time, because we just finished up like a massive production for Apple, and then we were booked out for the year after that, after basically the year COVID happened, right? And we were gonna do like a bunch of like interesting documentary films about like submarines and boats and whatnot. And I was like preparing to hire like 4 people into the company, and I was like making the desk and everything in the room, and getting computers and driving around all around the country just to set up a small office and get the company going. And then what ended up happening is like I had everything prepared, right? So whenever I got the official what do you call it, like day to open the company, that's the day Denmark closed completely because of COVID, right? So there was like a complete shutdown, and I got the keys and everything, and I was like, oh, I'm ready to like run this company now. And then all of a sudden, like I couldn't run the company, and I had to cancel. Unfortunately, I had to cancel like the contracts with people and all that stuff, right? And we didn't really know, like, oh man, should I sell like all the equipment again? Now I have all this equipment sitting like for 6 months and so on. And so I think what I learned was, and I met a very interesting producer that had started a lot of companies before. I think she started like 5 or 6 companies, film companies before. And she always ended up like quitting her companies because they got more people involved. And then what happens when you sort of start a company is that you take the opportunity that sort of arises. In my case, it was those like submarine boat documentaries and small animation tasks and so on. And so we were just taking in all opportunities that came in. But I didn't really have a sort of a planned out of like what type of company I sort of wanted. And so what the producer, helped me to understand was like, like she went through the same thing with her previous companies and always ended up selling, and it was because her partners also jumped into the opportunities. And so what she discovered is that you can actually have a very successful company just by being 1 or 2 people in the company. I would recommend 2 people because I think thinking about running this by myself would be super hard. I think having 2 is super valuable. And then from there, you sort of work as producers, right? And then it's easier to hire in artists for a specific job or something like that, right? So that's kind of like how I'm running my company. So it's a small company, really, but we get to work on a lot of different and interesting stuff all around the world, right? Like a lot of people also reach out just because of the network that I have throughout the years. And so I created good relationships with other producers and other companies where we always make sure that we deliver, right? And so yeah, that's a little bit of a company talk. It's very different from all the artist perspective and everything, but it's something that at least for me it's very valuable as well to talk about, just because it's something that, thinking of myself when I was starting animation, I was just like a very, very naive artist that didn't really have an understanding on how business work or how the industry sort of worked and all that stuff, right? So just looking at myself from a younger perspective, I feel like I've grown a lot just by understanding a lot of these aspects of film, right? So yeah. Yeah, welcome into the chat. We're having I think Flow in Nature, you might have missed it as well, but I changed the schedule a little bit. It's up here. I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but I need to change the schedule for like the streaming days. I think for Tuesday and Thursdays, and then I'll do a little bit shorter streams, so like a couple of hours between 2 to 4 my time, like in GMT1. Just because, yeah, I got a couple of projects in, and they're not like super big projects, but of course they do require like meetings and times and management and all these type of things. So I need to sort of scale down a little bit on the streaming right now, and then see if I can sort of get around everything. So that will be the new schedule for next week. And we still keep our meetings on Mondays. Right, so I kind of like the rain here, but I think, yeah, like this is the frame where some of the some of the drops just look a little strange, I guess. So try to see if I can ease them out a little bit. Yeah, I think maybe if I make them a little heavier, so maybe the directional force, I could do something like that. Let's see how that looks like. Probably don't need to render that many, but maybe something like this. Make sense? Yeah. Yeah. So I was hoping that I would have this period of time with this film sort of uninterrupted, but I unfortunately have to bounce between projects a little bit, and also just to try to avoid a bunch of weekend work. Okay, I think it's a little bit better with there is like a weird frame here. Okay, so I'll try to see maybe to tone down the turbulence a little bit. Okay, so I'd maybe 3.5, maybe 3. How are you today, Flow in Nature? You doing good? Okay, I think maybe for this one I'll probably want to change the direction a little bit. I'll try to see if I can change this. Oh, okay, yeah. So I rotated it on the camera actually. So maybe 15. And I'll try to push the turbulence strength on the other axes as well, and then see what I get. I'm just gonna see if it looks completely crazy or Let's see. Tired this morning? Yeah, me too. Me too. I was having a very long week, very long evenings this week for sure. But it's good that it's a weekend, right? So you get to relax a bit. I do have some meetings on the weekend, but I won't be doing any too much work, I think. Yeah, I kind of like how this layer looks. Again, I have like those drops here. Yeah, so I'll try to see scale. Okay, that helped a bit. I kind of like the burst in between the rain, but it's just sometimes it just feels like it's like floating and then stopping in the middle of the air. So I'll try to see if I can eliminate those. Yeah, so okay, what happens if I take this out completely? Right. Okay. Yeah, maybe just the turbulences are just a little strong. So put like 0.01, see how that feels. I'm volunteering at this festival in March. I had an intro session yesterday, Festival International Film, Sword Art. Oh, that's super cool. What are you gonna be doing for the festival? Just a bunch of prep work for the shows, or? Okay, let's see. Let's work with one layer at a time. Okay, I think what I'll try to do as well, I'll put in a multiplier just so I can control every layer and depth a little bit by the intensity. So I want them to be like less visible the further it's away from the camera, right? So with a multiplier, I can like easy sort of like tweak down its strength. So I'll try to do that, and then put a multiplier in for all of them. And then, yeah, see, yeah, and then tweak this one. Okay. This one is not super pretty. I think the streaks are, yeah, very strong. Just ticketing things because of my work schedule. But that sounds super cool. Actually, I unfortunately I missed the film festival last year as well. Like in Spain, there were like film festivals in Sevilla. And it was super cool films. Not last year, but the year before that, we sort of went, and there's a lot of interesting people and super good films as well. I would really like to go to some film festivals this year, just to check out the films. Right. I think this is like crazy strong, so I'll take down the motion. I think also I need like some kind of turbulence here. I feel like it's a little flat for this. Okay, there is turbulence, and again it makes that. What happens if I go a little extreme on this one? So like playing with particles and stuff like that is always fun, but it's also a lot of testing, right? Like you need to like play a lot around with the values to like get them to animate as you want. And especially a lot of the settings can be quite sensitive. Like not super happy about the way it acts out. Let's try one on X and then see how that looks. Okay, I'll try to eliminate the turbulence here, and I'll see if I can get the rain to look a little bit better. Maybe I should also draw actually like a rain, like a water droplet, because right now I have like squares being animated, right? So I think it would also help if I draw like a drop. So I'm just gonna take a brush, zoom in, and then, oh man, I need to really get my tablet connected. Okay, maybe it would be easier to do with shapes. And actually, let's do that, and then make this one big and this one small. And then maybe give it like a little bit of softness on the edges on the drop. It's not really visible, but let's see if that changes anything. So probably need to change the spawn. Yeah, I probably need to change the admission rate maybe, because right now I get very few drops spawning and they are not like tear shaped. What's this one? Tile. Yeah, no, I don't think that would look good. Emit from points, edges, boxes. Okay, I'm just gonna create a new particle emitter, and is to see if I can, if it's the emitter or what. Let's see it through the camera. Yeah, I get the drop here, I think. It's very hard to see, but I'm definitely getting the drop, so it must be like a setting that is overriding the shape on this. Points. It's all just yeah, it's weird. Like I don't know why that's the case, so maybe I'll just manipulate this new emitter. Say -10. Okay, emission rate, let's try it like 500. Let's see the move. That's an interesting angle. It's moving on. Trying to figure out. Yeah, I guess let's do some more settings here. So lifetime, what I do here? 20. Let's try 15. Velocity 101. Size. Okay, yeah, maybe it was a size thing actually, because I noticed the size is probably a little small. And yeah, so once we run it through the vector blur, do you know what the marketing agencies want from compositors? I know that makeup, face adjustments is the area. Is this an area you know? So for marketing, I mean, you meaning like just for like showreel type of stuff for companies to because I think marketing agencies are like a different thing, right? Like they are I guess that's like more commercial work, but I think actually the agencies reaches out to companies as well. So I don't know any like individual or individuals that work that way around. I think usually you apply for a company, like a visual effects company, and then that company, depending on the company, they do like film work, animation work, commercial work. Yeah. But yeah, so I think like for like compositing wise, like if you're looking for to make like a portfolio, like a show reel, I think like just showing just different type of work is always good. Like yeah, just like just show that you're, you know, I think the bigger range you have, the better in terms of compositing, right? You don't need necessarily like to be a super good painter. I think what I Yeah, it's okay. So this is interesting because I know that I studied as a generalist, so I had a lot of like 3D background and knowledge, and I think so. I had a really good friend of mine. He was a painter, like doing paint work, prep and paint work for. We applied actually for the same company, and we worked together for some time. And he was actually a very talented compositor, but for some reason they wanted him in for prep, and it's probably because he had prep and paint work in his showreel. And I actually never really done paint and prep, and I heard this in the industry that if you get into paint and prep, it's very very hard to move from that department to a compositing department, because they basically like two different departments, right? At least for bigger companies. And so I never had to deal with that because I just worked directly as a compositor and only show compositing stuff on my showreel. So I don't know if that was like a showreel thing that ended up happening that way, because he did apply for a compositing job as well. So it's interesting how that sort of like works sometimes. Like I know like incredible, I mean, paint artists that are actually like really really good compositors that have worked in paint for like 10 years before they make the jump to compositing, and then you know, compositing was the actually thing they wanted to do all along, but they just waited so long to do that. So I don't know why there is that gap. I guess like paint and prep is usually not super attractive work, I guess, because you don't get to like finish the work, and it's a lot of like prepping and like painting out the wires and tracking markers and tracking whatnot, all that stuff, right? But yeah, like also companies are also so different. Like sometimes for the big studios, when I was starting out at sort of like mid-sized, smaller studios, we would do all the paint work ourselves and all the tracking and all that stuff, and I always just considered that as compositing work, right? But the bigger the studio, the more specialized people you have. So that would sort of be the case for, you know, bigger studios. Yeah, it is interesting. Like I don't know why that's been sort of the case for some compositors, but yeah. So I think like if you want to do compositing, just try to focus on compositing and not so much like paint work and your showreel. Like I'm actually super bad at roto, right? I that's probably like the worst thing you could throw at me, I think. It's like when we have to do roto, like I'm the worst at roto. Like I don't have the patience for it, and I'm not very good at doing the masks in roto wise, right? Like I think I'm pretty good at keying stuff, but you know, like doing a lot of like roto work, which is also a lot, you know, is considered a lot in the paint department as well, or prep department, right? But I mean, I also talked to some paint artists, like prep artists, that absolutely love paint work because they don't feel the pressure necessarily the same way as compositors, right? Like compositor has like so many deadlines because we're sort of the last line of defense. So like if there's like no time to render the last pass or whatever, we need to like do the final you know, do the final fixes and fix everything in comp, and that can be super stressful, right? And then you have multiple shots and you have very like a lot of weekly deadlines. But then for paint artists, they all love it. Some love it as well because they can like sit back, listen to a podcast, and just roto, right? It's very easy work, and they just roto as well. So they, you know, some paint artists love that they feel more relaxed with that type of work. So it's also a preference thing, I think. Okay, so we got the shape in there. So I want a little bit of a direction on the shape. Like I feel like it's very straight. Yeah, we get that here. I should probably rotate the drop a little bit. So put in a rotation here. I wonder if I can do that. Can I? Rotate. Yeah. 20. So yeah, we have 20 degrees on the camera, so I'm rotating the drop like 20 as well, so they come in like directional from the side, and hopefully that gives me a little bit of better motion blur as well. So yeah, we got this strong fall off. Let's go down. Okay, so I thought the drop would sort of help with okay, let me draw on top of this. So I wanted, so right now I have sort of my brightest light here, right? And then I have a and then it gradients out that way and that way. And I kind of wanted it to have sort of the strongest white point here at the bottom, and then have it fade away, right? And that could be just a motion blur thing here with the shutter offset, because it would sort of determine like where the motion blur, how it's sort of like stretching out the stripes. So try to put that to 0 so it doesn't do anything, like it doesn't offset anything. And then maybe with the fall off we get a better feeling for the motion. Maybe if I make the streaks smaller, I can actually see if it's doing what I want. Okay, so the motion fall off, it does stretch it at its at the tip. Yeah, so I think the motion amount is probably what I'm looking for without too much fall off, I guess. I guess I can't. Soft lines, no. So if I do offset, no. -1, +1. It seems like it's just stretching out the middle. Blur UV linear. Uniform. No. UV offset. Nah, it's not doing anything. Yeah, damn it. I couldn't really do what I I can't do what I wanted it to do. That's what I guess that's what I want to say. Okay, just putting in some music. Yeah. So let's see how that looks in motion. But yeah, thanks for asking the questions, Flow in Nature. But yeah, like if you're interested to apply for your like for a comp job, it definitely you like just apply for like a bunch of companies and just keep reapplying, because a lot of the times you won't hear from them, but it's because they hire in waves, right? So a lot of the times they like a lot of the times they're very, very busy throughout the year, and like in specific times of the year, right? Like, so I remember once we made like a year contract, and I was quite happy about that yearly contract, and then I was laid off. They asked me if we could sort of like terminate the contract for the summer, because there was like all of a sudden they lost like a lot of job over the summer, and I was supposed to have like a 3 months summer vacation, right? And then what ended up happening was that I was off for like 2 weeks, and then they called me back in and said like, "Hey, can you come back in?" Because they all of a sudden had so much work, right? So so it's a lot like that. I think like projects it's like a balloon, right? Like all of a sudden they have like maybe just 2-3 projects that are huge, and then all of a sudden that show finishes for the season or whatever, and the film finishes off, and then all of a sudden, you know, they can't hold thousands of artists or hundreds of artists, right? So it's a lot about like timing, and you never really know when that is. Like sometimes I heard like in Vancouver, when I was in Vancouver, I heard like, oh, the summer season is sort of like a slow season. But then I ended up working at this company where they were doing a lot of pilots for shows, and they were super busy in the summer. But a lot of those shows never got released, right? Because they were pilots, and so they do a lot of like test show for the pilot, and then, you know, if it gets picked up, then the studio gets a lot of money to continue doing the show, and if not, then they, you know, it just dies out and they continue with another pilot. And that was like, that company had a lot of experience with shows for a long time, right? So they every studio is different, but just apply to a bunch, and then if you don't hear anything, then I would probably try to reapply like in the next quarter, and then see how that quarter looks in terms of like work, right? Because sometimes they cannot find enough artists, like, and sometimes they have too many artists, depending on the projects. So it's very project dependent. It's nice to hear stories about big studios. Yeah. I'm asking because a friend who works in marketing offered to share what I do with her contacts. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, marketing stuff. Yeah, it's interesting with the marketing, I guess, right? Because marketing in film is many things, I guess, because like I do commercials, right? Sometimes we do commercials, and I guess that is considered marketing, right? In a way, but it's not, because at the end we make the art behind the commercial, but then I guess marketing. Like, I don't know if you heard these stories with Netflix. Now they had a little bit of a backlash with using AI to make posters, right? Instead of paying artists, and so that's a little bit like what marketing is, I guess, right? It's like posters, trailers, merch, like all that type of thing, right? I think it's like more considered marketing, right, than within film, right? And a lot of the times that happens within Netflix, or it doesn't happen at visual effects studios. Yeah, so I think like that's a little bit of a separate thing, I guess. But um, I'm sure I've seen like studios that specialize in a lot of like in commercial work and the marketing aspect of it as well. But it's almost like two separate departments, I guess. Okay, maybe I think I found the center for those droplets that I didn't like. Maybe I think it was the particle directional force. So I'm just gonna make this a tiny bigger again, and then see if we see those drops. Yeah, it's marketing is it's different. It's very different. I mean, we also done like smaller videos for like we did this video here. I'll show you. And in a way, that video was. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So, wait, I can't. How do I share this window capture? Yeah, cool. Okay, so now you see this. Okay, I'll remove my camera. Does that work? No, it does not. Ah, it did. Okay. So we did this video, which was for what do you call it? Okay, God damn it, I can't say the word. Municipally, is that how you say it? It's like for the government, right? For that local area. And it was about like it was like a UNESCO creative cities. It was like a huge thing, and Bebors were that animation studio that I studied. They were at, right? So we helped with this video to sort of create a very. We helped Bebor become UNESCO creative cities, and they won the award and everything. Obviously, we didn't create sort of the footage. I mean, we went to places and shot, the whole creative industry cluster, right? And in a way, this is marketing, right? So it was a video for marketing, but it was also, I guess, a competition within cities in Europe to compete for this creative city thing. But so what we did was like to reach out to all the tech companies and like what do you call it, like art companies and film companies or whatever, like everything creative within the city that was happening, right, in order for them to win the competition. And in a way, that's marketing, right? Like we did the marketing for this and produced the video for them. So in a way, it was it's a great. It was really great for the city because they won, right? So I think they got like huge funds and everything to be able to like continue the creative efforts for the for the city, and yeah, it was very cool actually. But yeah, so like I think in this case, you know, as you again, like working in a smaller company and a smaller scale, you help with the marketing, right? But when we are talking about like big films, oops, let me see if I can share this software again. So this one, yeah. So yeah, so when you work for big films, I think it's marketing is it's a whole different thing. It's usually the distributor and the producers, which is not, that's like a whole different thing, right? Like that's not yeah, it's usually not a marketing department in a visual effects studio. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's but it is it is right. I mean, it is weird, right? Like it's because it all depends on the scale, I guess, and the circumstances, right? Right. So I feel like am I looking at the right one? I was playing around with this, right? Yeah, I think maybe the streak's a little too long. 3 maybe. And then I guess I would like the directional force, but not so strong. Maybe 2. And let's add some more turbulence here and then see if it completely breaks. Okay. Kind of like how this is looking. I think maybe the directional blur could be more. So like 0.4. I think we had on the actual shot. I'm just gonna see. He had like real rain here, and it's quite subtle, right? So I really need to make sure to integrate it into that, you know, that subtlety in there. So that's with one layer. So that's without any layers. That's the real rain. First layer, it's very subtle. I like it. Gives it depth. And let's see, we were playing around with this one. Okay, it's a lot of like different sizes and a little bit of like directional change in the rain. So that's good. I think that's looking pretty good so far. Oh man, I really have to look into, I don't know why the butt comes in the in Twitch. I guess that's normal on Twitch. I would have to turn on shield mode. What's this? Chat will be cleared of any settings. Oh, I don't know. Okay, so let's see, with and without. So here it's looking pretty good. Yeah, that makes it feel a little bit more heavy. Ugh, oh, about to sneeze. Let's see how it looks here. Yeah, I think I like to. Right, so now I need like a system for this. So I think, let's see, how strong is it here? So if I say 0.6 for this one, and then this one could be 0.7, and this could be 0.8, and then I'll work my way like that. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one here. Yeah, this is not great. Not great. Okay, so yeah, that's background rain. I guess we call this one like middle ground. There's something in between. But for the foreground, I think I wanted it to I'm just gonna scale this up like a tiny bit. Yeah. Okay, and then let's see if we can do like a middle ground. That looks quite decent. So this one is supposed to be 0.7. 0.8, 0.6. Okay, so let's see, that's enhanced rain. What could be cool is to maybe actually make rain like drop off this rock, so we would actually see like tiny particles sort of bounce off the rock. But it would be like, if I had a lot of time to do all these shots, I will probably maybe do that, because it's a little bit in focus, right? So I think, and we do see these very subtle light streaks, and I think it will be add that extra level of detail. But again, it's like I wouldn't work on that, because it's like with the 80% rule again, so like that would be something that nobody will ever catch or see, but it would help make the rain make more believable. And then probably, because the rain is so subtle right now, right? I don't know if you can even see it on the stream. So yeah, let's see if we can fix this rain a little bit. I also want droplets for this one. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I think it's a size thing. So if I boost it up to like 2. Oh, should probably save. Okay. Let's make that 3. Let's see. Yeah, I think let's adjust the motion. No offset. Just gonna disable that for now, and then see. Let's see how that looks. Welcome into the stream. Thanks for joining. It's a chill work stream. There will be a new schedule for next week. I sort of have it here. So yeah, it will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. And yeah, we'll see how things go from there. Okay, I think I need to Let's see. Yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. So this is the background. That's the middle ground. And the middle ground should probably actually be a little stronger. So like maybe 8. Because I feel it's almost not really visible. Okay, so let's take a look at it's crazy subtle, but you know. So I think this one I was playing around with. Was that the one that I wanted it to sort of fly towards the camera? Yeah. So, whoa. Is that a little slow? Let's see how that ended up looking. Yes, I kind of wanted, because the note says that, you know, they want a little bit of like violent-ish, like storm or heavy rain. Not violent, I guess it's a little bit of a... so I'll think, let's see, I have the water droplet here that we drew, and I replace that with a sphere, and then we are emitting those particles. Oh yeah, they're not really visible because of the size here, so I'm just gonna put that to 3. Let's see how that looks. Okay. I'm gonna try to push the emission rate to like 700. Variation rate, I don't know, let's try 0.3. Max life range. Let's try to play with... Oh, sorry, my camera died. Let me change the battery. Sit back. I just fix that. Right. Oh. Is it? Is it gone? Oh no. What's happening? Okay, seems to be working now, I think. I don't know what happened there. Right. Droplets flying towards the camera. Let's see. It's a little heavy. Man, it's good it's Friday. And very tired today as well. But I have to catch up on a few things over the weekend. And I think also we're having a huge storm. The sort of the stormy weather continues in Spain, so yeah. We'll see how that turns out tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna loop less frames because for some reason it's quite heavy for this to render, which I don't know why that is exactly, because it's exact same. Oh well, I did change the ignition rate to like 700. Maybe if we take that down 400, maybe that helps. Yes, I kind of like the chaotic nature of what's happening. What's happening here? Let's see at a motion. It feels like completely weird to look at. Let's see. Maybe I could make this like a sort of like a mist layer, so it could be like super tiny and like flickering. I think we had some of that in the original plate as well, but just kind of like to enhance that effect a little bit, because it's moving quite chaotically, right, with the turbulence and the directional force. Yeah, I think that will work well as a sort of like a noise, like tiny water particles, like sort of flying about. But I think I'll just blur them. No, we need to get the directional sense. So I need the direction, but then I blur them. I think I would like to blur them a lot and then almost have no motion blur, a vector blur. quite heavy. Yeah, so motion amount, let's do one, yeah, something like that, and then blur this by a lot. 25. How does that look like? I probably want them to be smaller, maybe. They're quite big blobs right now. Let's render fewer frames. Yeah, so maybe I'll adjust the size of them to be like smaller. Funny enough, this will probably be the sort of the heaviest layer. Yeah, I don't know if we actually saw that, but so like if I disable all of this and we analyze the rain a little bit in a dark patch, let's see somewhere it's visible. It's very hard to see, but like there are, I mean, there's the film noise, right? And then you have like drops and space, right? Like you have different sizes and different, the camera sort of captures different ones. But you have like this, it almost looks like noise, but they are like white splashes almost. And it's very subtle. But that's kind of like the layer that I'm trying to mimic and try and see if we can enhance that a little bit. But I think I might maybe do a pre-comp on it, and then because I think I need to generate way more. So like go back up to 700. I'll say this. And then I want them to be smaller as well. So like 0.1. Let's go, okay, 4. My computer's not liking the 700, so let's go back to 400. Okay, let's see how that looks. Yeah, something like that. I don't know if you can actually see it. I'll try to boost up the gamma here. So the layer sort of like looks like this, but it's very subtle. But it's just to give that sort of like noise in between. Right. Might boost this up to like 3. Let's see how that looks. Oh boy, it's having a hard time. My computers. My poor computer. Oh, I need the color. Okay, So let's see the difference. Original rain with our rain. It's like crazy subtle, right? But now we have these multiply controllers, so we can like maybe boost them up if we need to. Maybe I'll boost everything up actually. So let's take like 1.1 and then we do 1.3 maybe. 1.5 and that's 3. Okay, so let's see now how that looks. Okay, so up here, looking at it at the raw color space, the water droplets are like a little bit too strong, and I think we did sort of a mask here. That also has some gray. I'm just gonna remove those. Maybe I don't need the mask. One five. Okay, so another. Oh, so. I have my pluses here. They are like also mixed down. Yeah, so eventually there's like 2 controllers, right, to control the intensity. So let's do then 0.6 here, and then the other one 0.75. This one 85. This one like 90, and then I just sort of control the rest by the multiplier. So now I can take the multiplier down to like 1.5 for this, 1.2 maybe, 1.1, and 0.8, something like that. Let's see, there's like some of the layers that have, this one's like crazy visible. So let's adjust that one. .85, I guess. So let's see. Yeah, it is the only layer that is really standing out for some reason. So let's mix it down to like 7. That's much better. Okay, so now when we look at this, let's see how that looks. Might need to blur them a little bit more as well. Let's see. Welcome into the stream. Thanks for joining in on YouTube. Working on this indie film, and it's quite cool, quite exciting because we get to share it. It's not normal for film projects, and yeah, I'm just recently changing for next week. I'm gonna put the schedule up here, so it's like on Tuesdays and Thursdays next week. Just because, yeah, there's been a few new projects that is bounced in this week, and I need to sort of like try to time manage and project manage everything at the same time. So I'm cutting down a little bit on the stream time, just so I don't end up working too much over the weekends and stuff like that, and make sure that I have enough time for the meetings. Yeah. Okay, I think I'll take down the opacity here on everything. So I'll probably take down by, let's take everything down by 1. And let's see the multiplier. Let's take that to 1, this one to 7, this one to 75, this to 3. Let's take a look at it again. I also need to look at the thunder for this shot. What do I have to do up in the clouds? But right now, I want to try to see if I can nail down the rain, and then, I'll work on the thunder stuff. So see that more people are joining in on YouTube, which is nice to see. Welcome into the stream. I'm changing up the schedule for next week, so I'll be streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays just for a couple of hours. I've been sort of like streaming for a bit longer this last few weeks. But right now it's going to be quite difficult to do with all the projects that are coming in. Right, I think I will probably like to take a look at this thunder stuff now. So I brought in the thunder that we did last time for the other shot. And let's see how many frames we're dealing with here. We'll probably put the thunder around here, like at 135. So I'm just gonna save because last time it crashed when I was changing this node. It's cursed. Okay, seems like okay, it's struggling a little bit. Let's do 70. Yeah. So that's kind of like the animation we have for it. And I'm just going to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to change this shape. Let's see, I'm deleting it, and let's just create another one. Now I know that, you know, the thunder that we don't necessarily want it to go down, like it's like thunder strikes that stays up in the sky a little bit. So I'm just gonna do something like this, so get a little bit of a feeling that it's traveling. Oh, shoot. Yeah, something like that. Then I have this layer, and last time we sort of broke it up in a bunch of pieces. I think I'll do the same. So I'm just gonna select all these. Okay, I'm gonna move these ones, scale them down. Copy this. If you have any questions about like VFX stuff, or want to talk about specific film or the film industry in general, please let me know. I'll try to answer the best way I can. The reason I started streaming this is just two main reasons, and it's because I wanted to make sure that I think there's a lot of things that I didn't know about the industry when I got into it, and I have no idea how to even work with film. And I think it took me a long time to sort of like go through all the hurdles, if you will, of becoming an artist and everything. And I feel like, you know, I studied like classical, traditional art and digital art and all these type of things before I even sort of like got sort of aligned with what I'm doing today. But I didn't even know what I wanted to become, to sort of, or what path to really take. But I think what I was talking earlier in the stream today, it was like, I think the essence of art and everything, it comes down to storytelling or expressing a feeling, right? So, and I think the sort of the ultimate way that I sort of learned that, I guess, was through drawing and animation, right? And then I sort of learned that, yeah, that storytelling can be used in many different forms. So I think eventually my drawing became films, because it was easier to work with, in a way. And I know it sounds strange to say, because working on film is very hard, but it's easy to do like a short film, you know. So like if you take your phone, you take like a light, you know, and you can go out and you can shoot anything quite fast, and you can just edit it and play around with music and, you know, learn about filmmaking. It's probably the best way to learn, right? And that became sort of a medium. So I just saw that, oh, you know, you can express the same feelings through a film or through a picture or a music, right? So yeah, it's but I think eventually I figure out that, yeah, like film, it is probably the the easiest medium to work with, because like animation, I studied animation, and animation was fast. No, it's slow, expensive, and it requires an army. And I sort of like learned that the hard way in the beginning, right? But then it all depends what you do as well. Like I think there's like super smart animators and people out there that, you know, can sort of create a cool style that is inexpensive and fast, right? So that's totally a valid way to create a film. But yeah, like making 3D stuff or 2D stuff, it's very time consuming. So compared to just going out with your camera. And then you can use visual effects to sort of enhance what you shot, right? So that's kind of like the way I see it, I guess. It's that I don't necessarily bind myself to like one medium. I'm probably also not as good as painting today as I was when I was younger, I guess. But in a way, I am better at painting because I'm painting all the time in films. So, but it's not like let's say painting stylized. I guess I'm used to doing more realistic stuff, right, with the effects. So I'm not, I guess, as good as painting stylized stuff as I once was, I guess. Okay, why does it, what happened? So I have this, that. Okay, I think it was some bug on the buffer. I like the rain, it looks very realistic now. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I like the rain as well. I think it helps to sort of break up the layers a little bit, on the intensity and the velocity and those type of details. But thanks for that. Yeah, so I think for this one, I'll see if I can. Let's see if we can create some interesting shapes. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. I think this road is killing the main lightning. That's why it looked weird. Might just kill it completely. It's gonna be masked a lot as well. So then we have the retime. I'm gonna disable this multiplier here. Probably need to adjust the glows. Right. Now we have the offset. I'm just gonna save in case it crashes. I don't trust this time offset node. It's been crashing my script the last couple of days. Right. So I think I'll add a little bit of animation to this one as well. But I would have to do it in the beginning. So these streaks of lightning, I sort of animated them at the first 10 frames. But then I'm sort of retiming everything away, right? But for this one, for the main one, I created it in 170. So I'm gonna take it there here at 1. I'm just gonna move it a tiny bit, move it back. And now I have a keyframe here. And what I sort of do is try to go to frame 10, position it here. That's kind of like where we want it. And then I move back to 1, and then I'll see if I can sort of move it to become a smaller shape or a different shape. Something like that, and then we'll sort of, oof, yeah, it's rough. It's not looking, it's not a great animation. So I might actually do a paint node. I think that would look better. So it's gonna replace the rotor shape with a paint node and paint in this one. So what's cool about the brush stroke is that I can easier control its lifetime like I did with the other ones. Just keep it like that. So now I have it here, and now it's easier to sort of go to one. I'll make its lifetime to change that to all the frames, and then I'm going to stroke, and we can change the right to end, right? So I'll keyframe it here. I'll go back to 1, and I'll say that, you know, I wanted the first frame to be maybe just this streak here. So now when I play it, it looks a little bit better. It sort of like moves out like that. So once we see it with all the effects and stuff, hopefully that looks a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah, and then I'll control sort of the rest on here. Let's see this shot. So I'm just gonna disable the rain for now because it's quite heavy, and I'm gonna watch it through the color node. But I think I might adjust some of this color because I don't see much of the clouds. It's quite burned out. This color that I'm adjusting, by the way, is not sort of like the final look of the film or anything. It's just mainly there for me to see the shot while I work on it, because then we disable it and then it goes sort of back into raw color space whenever we deliver it back to the editor and director, right? So this color node is mainly just for me to look at. So I'm just adjusting it so I can see a little bit of the mist or the cloud, if you will, to see if I can key any of that stuff out and use as masks. So there's a little bit of like cloud. Okay, so do you remember that I was saying that, you know, if you're really good at noises, you can create anything in the other streams? And I feel like this is exactly a noise pattern, right? Like 1-to-1 to a noise pattern almost. But yeah, so let's see. I'll take that mask we just created, put it in there. Oh yeah, and I think I have the time off set to 175 or something like that. It's really cool to see people popping in into YouTube and Twitch. Just in case you missed it, I would like to keep streaming for next week. I do have a lot of projects coming in at the moment, so it makes it a little bit harder to stream as I did the last couple of weeks. But you can see there it will be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4 GMT +1, and the coming weeks. That might change once again, but we'll see. Oh, sorry, I need to share my screen again here. Yeah, the reason is that there's some more projects coming in, and I need to sort of manage everything, both this project, the other project, and also having a course that I'm doing for this specifically VFX related and for this film that will happen in the weekends most likely. So yeah, there will be plenty. My plate is getting quite full, so I need to sort of scale down a little bit on the streaming, even though I would really like to actually keep streaming for the most time, but it's just like it's a lot of work at the moment. But feel free to ask about like anything film related, VFX related, and I'll try to answer the best way I can. So I'm not seeing the lightning, so let's see what's happening to it. Okay, the alpha is a little weak. Disable the stencil. Okay, I think it's up here. It's like super huge. So we'll create another transform. And yeah, let's just see if I can move it. Okay. Oh, okay. The animation here. There we go. Okay, that was like set to 0, so I couldn't see it. So yeah, I think I wanted to start at 70. So I'm just gonna play with the position first. Let's see it with the mask. And the stencil. Okay, it's looking quite good. A little big, but I think I'll hide most of it behind the mist. I think I just kind of wanted the mist to sort of light up and have a little bit of that detail in there. So I think by the time we reach 76, I want it to disappear. By the time we reach 169, it's gone. It's visible on 70. And then here I can dip down in visibility like to 20%, and then it can go fully again. Maybe keep another frame in, so make it disappear at 78. And let's see how that looks. Am I looking through the... Yeah. Cool. So yeah, it's a little thick, sort of the lightning strike. So I might see if I can choke it out right before the pre-mold. I do have a road here that is making that one thinner. Maybe that's enough. Let's make everything a little bit thinner right before the pre-mold. Maybe -2. It's I think maybe it's the scale that I have, because I'm scaling it weirdly. Yeah, this one. So if I, yeah. So I think that was stretching it quite a lot. This transform is gonna delete it. And now I can make this one a little bit bigger. Okay, a little better. And probably, I think I have to invert this mask here. So without a mask, with a mask. And I might take it again with a gray node and see if I can push the alpha a little bit here. So maybe invert it here and then push it. No, I don't want to clamp out too much, but you know, something. Let's try something like that and see if we can stencil it. So yeah, the thunder needs to be like extremely subtle, like almost not visible, and then help illuminate a lot of those clouds up there. So that is looking pretty good. In terms of visibility, I think yeah, I do have a noise pattern here with, yeah, I might disable this for now. Just trying to clean up the old script a little bit because I'm not going to use any of this stuff. And let's kill this as well. Let's make a dot. Right. So let's see if I can, yeah, use this to create an area that we then expose up. See if we can move this here. Yeah, so we getting a little bit of that flash in the cloud there. Yeah, let's see if we can do more. And we had this. Just gonna copy the animation we did up here down to the other nodes. You know what, let's just copy it as well, see what happens. Let's just see if it picks up on any of the lightning interaction, the other lightning interactions nodes. Probably have to adjust everything. I actually wanted to end the stream now, but I kind of feel like I'm moving along with the shot, and I would like to see if I can get it updated for Monday's meeting. So I'll keep on streaming for a little bit more. Okay, so this one, having a very strong light source. I'm having some masks here. It's probably this one. What I want. Yeah, nice. That's very nice. Because I see the sort of the blacks and the whites in the clouds, but obviously it's quite strong here. So I'll probably take the gain down by 2. It's kind of nice. I kind of like the blowout because it creates contrast with the gray. Let's see how we make this work. Yeah, okay, that doesn't feel right, but I like the blowout. I like the blowout. So let's see. We have this mask and that. Yeah, I think I need to manually adjust the intensity here. So let's see. First frame, I feel like it should be quite strong. Flash of light. I wonder if it's easier to, if I set no animation here, we set it to 1, and then I'll take a multiplier node and then animate it on the multiplier. So now it's gonna look wild, but now I can just control it here. So I'll set it to 1 for now. Set that to 0. Let's set this to 0. I want to flash here. I guess in between we want it to turn off. And then it gets to sort of, maybe it gets to sort of ease out at the end. Let's see how that looks. Lost the music. welcome into the chat, by the way. Sorry if I missed anything. People coming in and out. Yeah, it's a little strong. Probably the highest value shouldn't be one. I think I should. Yeah, it gets controlled by. Just be controlled by this, and then just take this down to 2 maybe. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I'm missing a lot of that contrast we had before with the intense light, right? So we have to I think this one would be kind of difficult because between white and black we have a array of gray, right? So we have to be extremely careful. Basically, we want to create contrast within the grays and the white, right? So yeah, so that would be difficult to do. So we really have to be subtle with all the values and all the tweaking. So this is gonna take some tweaking for sure. So let's see, we get the lighting. Yeah, so first of all, I should just take it from the top and make sure that I'm happy with the lighting first, because I could use that as a light source, right? So I need to make sure whatever light comes through the clouds or the mist is visible, and whatever needs to disappear needs to disappear. Come on. It's having a hard time rendering the last frame. Okay. Yeah, so let's take it when it's like the most visible here. So I got that, and I got nothing here. So I'm just gonna delete this. And I have this strong noise. Let's just add that in here. Let's say plus. Did I break something? Okay. Okay. Might be easier to keep these separate because I kind of like the values here. So I'm going to use that and just stencil. Let's see if we can get some better noise pattern. and maybe not be so harsh on the whites. Needs to be bigger for sure. Okay. So it's almost like not visible. So at this point, I think I'll try to see if I can just color correct it with a grate here. To see if I can get some of those whites through. Maybe just gain it by 3. Let's cut more. So let's do another noise. Stencil. And let's gain it. Camera up. Blur it a bit. And then let's gain this up. Okay. Let's see how ridiculous that looks. Let's do 4. Okay. Yeah, I'm not liking the arm here. So I'll take that out. So let's see. Yeah, that one. I think I'll take it out. Okay, let's see now with the exposure. Let's put all this back on. Oops. See how that looks. While that loads, I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, this one will need a lot of work, I think. I don't think I'll be able to make a decent version for Monday. So this one probably needs to sit out a bit, I think. It's a lot of adjustments, I think, for it to make it look good. I just want to try something here. If I take that real quick and take that, wait, and then I want to isolate it by, let's see, by this. So we say mask, I mean, technically I'm gonna do that. Grade, erode, erode, erode. Okay, so all the erodes kills it. Okay, let's make this a little bit easier by doing this. No clip. Right, so now I got that rough mask. Maybe I don't want too much of that. Okay, let's try this. And then do like mm, 1/8. Right. But I really want to drive it with this, but I wrote filter fast maybe, and then see if I can create like an area like that. Let's do another fast, another blur. Maybe we do a with blur. Yeah, something like that. And now we mask it. So now we get maybe 0.5. This will require some work. Yeah, I'm not liking the animation, the visibility, so the way it's being cut up, and also the flashes. It's not really doing me any favor, I think. So I might have to redo this one a little bit more from scratch, maybe. I should be able to reuse a lot of this, I think. It's the same stuff. Okay. Okay, so I think that's giving me better results. Why don't I have an alpha here? lightning. Oh, is it really? Yes, because it's okay. I might do that. Let's see if that changes too much. Sorry guys in the chat, I'm just really mumbling a lot to myself. But yeah, but thanks for joining in today on this chill Friday stream. I'm just getting myself here into the zone, but I'll think I'll probably call it off soon. Maybe in 15 minutes or something like that. I'll be streaming Tuesday and Thursdays next week only, and yeah, then we'll see. Maybe the schedule changes again. Right. I feel like this exposure is not doing much at this point. So let's see if we can boost up. So it's, yeah, I probably want to boost it like here more, and then down and up again, so we get that flash. Let's see how that looks. There's something about it that I don't like. And I think it's sort of like the cloud detail. Like I think it's like the masks are too soft, and like here, for example. Like having that there. Let's see again. So I feel like the mask here is a little bit like a blob of light, right? So I guess I would like to have some of those clouds to sort of like cut it out a little bit. And so what happens now if we boost it? Yeah, now I really have to boost it quite a lot to which makes sense, right? Because the sort of intensity of the lightning sort of is very low, right? So I really need to boost the light on it a lot more. So it goes down. Let's go up here. So let's see how that looks like. Could you share parts of your script for the rain again? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I divided it sort of like in this one we can call like noise, like maybe like very, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to call this one. Maybe like very foreground dash like noisy. Oops. So basically we took the card, right, and emitted particles from it, and so for this one specifically I didn't do the raindrop, which I drew here, right? But I made a turbulence. At the end, in order for these particles to sort of generate, in order to vector blur them, they need to be creating, you need a vector generator. And you can actually see here, like, it creates like an RG, BA, and then these colors are sort of like vector information. And so once you have that, you can use a vector blur to sort of like do that. And these ones, I try to match as much or as close to the actual footage as possible in terms of like size and streak and so on. So this was sort of like the first layer. And you can see what it does, right? So we have like real streaks. Oh, I moved the frame, sorry. So we have like real streaks here. I don't know if it's, I hope you can see it. I'm gonna try to see if I can contrast this up a bit so you can better see the streaks. And then you can see the ones that are being added here, right? And then what I sort of tried to balance at the end was to, I put in a multiplier where I wanted them to sort of fade into space. So the less intense, the further away from the camera, and more intense closer to the camera. So I try to play around with the multiplier at the end of every sort of build of this, and then mix down the plus as well. It was a little bit of a balancing act to sort of get that looking good, or feel right. And so for this one, the middle ground, I did basically the same setup again, but here I drew out the water droplet and adjusted the size and the particle emitter, and the same thing. Adjusted the size in the motion vector. Like I feel some of the streaks were, I think before they were like very, very big and intense, and now they're like a little, now they're like smaller. Now I'm like overexposing, right? So they, just so you can see them a little bit more. And again with the multiplier, this one was set to 1, the other one, the plus merge is set to 0.65, and the other one was set to 0.5. So they become like more visible with just the mix as well, as they come closer to the camera. And then for the next one is, I called it the foreground. Sorry, I think I said it backwards. I think I called this one foreground and I called this one background. But yeah, same thing here with the water drop. This one I because it's gonna be more visible because it's closer to camera, I also rotated it a little bit in the same degree that the camera has. So the camera rotated it -20 on the Z-axis, and it's because the drops are traveling that direction, this direction, right? So that's like a 20-degree angle. And so if I kill this transform, the droplets would travel, they will still travel in the 20-degree angle, but they will not streak well, if you will. But if we did a 20% rotate, 20-degree angle on the rotation, then it should sort of match the camera's tilt, and that way we we get like that, the right direction for the rain to fall, right? So then it looks more correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice, yeah, we played it, and then we did the same thing for the end here, right? So the ones that I called like very foreground or noisy, so these are like just like kind of like spludges, if you will, to sort of just make the whole image more wet, right? With these spludges, it's very hard to see, I guess. So they're very subtle. Now I'm boosting up quite a lot so you can see them. But yeah, but it's these. And then these ones, I made like a very turbulent and increase sort of the directional force, so it feels a little bit more like chaotic, or to like create that noise that the original rain and the plate sort of created as well. So just trying to sort of mimic that, and then again I mixed it in by increased it a little bit because it's barely visible, and yeah, put it into like 0.8. So essentially, once I get the lighting in here, I would like to have the, not only the cloud. Right now I'm struggling with the clouds, right? But I would like to have the sort of the rain to be affected by the light change as well. Yeah, it's quite heavy to render. I think, yeah, it would be good to like pre-comp the particles. So I'm just gonna disable it for now. Hope that helped out with something, or just seeing it. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think I will leave it here. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this better than we had before. So now we get like a little bit of like change and the shape here. Every frame is different. So, and I think that's good. I will get some of those clouds to illuminate up. I would like to do like a softer layer, right? But that has to be sitting to create that contrast, right? It's like we're creating contrast in the grays, and so I need things to be very, very subtle in terms of like value change and stuff like that. Yeah, I leave it here, and then I'll keep tweaking all this stuff. I think I'll delete all this because that's for the old script. So I'm just gonna clean this up for myself next time, because I'm probably gonna forget what I did. And I'll do a sticky note for myself saying like I just, oops, yeah, just stuff down here. Okay. Let's start green. Yeah, Cool. I'll save this and I'll continue on it next week. Well, the stream turned out to be much longer than I actually wanted to make it. But thank you so much for staying, and also for popping in and out of the streams. And yeah, there's a little bit of a change of plans. So it is very likely that, so I sent out a proposal for the course for both the film and sort of like an introduction to Nuke as well, right? So the course is a little bit sort of directed to filmmakers, creators, and to know a little bit more how to use VFX. I think a lot of the times, like directors or filmmakers don't know like how easy something can be tracked, and something can be super difficult to track and stuff like that, right? So just going through sort of like basic stuff for the course. It will be in Spanish, and I will do them on the weekends. So that's why also I'm not going to be streaming so much. Apart from that, I have another task coming in that needs to be done before May. And yeah, then I have like project management, catch up and meetings and stuff like that throughout the week as well. So it's so I'm really trying to manage my time as good as possible, and also to just be able to share as much as possible. So hopefully we'll see how those streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays they turn out. But yeah, if you're still interested in joining, and if you watch the videos afterwards on YouTube, then yeah, let me know. I'll try to keep the streams a little bit shorter as well, because I think for the longer streams I thought I'd just been bumbling on my own and and trying to just concentrate on the work as well. So I guess it's not super interesting to watch, but so I try to keep the streams a little bit shorter. But yeah, let me know if you have any preferences or what you guys think as well, if you think it's useful and so on. Yeah, so I think with all that, I'll leave it here. I wish you a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday. And Flow in Nature, if you have any questions, just reach out. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say. Everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you for popping in, and thanks for being active as well. It's kind of nice to have a conversation going. So yeah, all right, have a good one. Ciao ciao. Take care.